Before we start, keep in mind the connection and love between Abraham and God. Just as Abraham's wife Sarah trusted him, Abraham trusted God. We can learn from three main things: obedience, faith, and worship. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Watch the video and comment below on what you have learned from Abraham or his wife Sarah. Enjoy, and God bless you. Abram and Sarai. God told Abram, "Leave your country, your family, and your father's home for a land that I will show you. I'll make you a great nation and bless you. I'll make you famous. You'll be a blessing. I'll bless those who bless you. Those who curse you, I'll curse. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you." So Abram left just as God said, and Lot left with him. Abram was 77 years old when he left Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot with him, along with all the possessions and people they had gotten in Haran, and set out for the land of Canaan, and arrived safe and sound. When Abram arrived in Egypt, the Egyptians took one look and saw that his wife was stunningly beautiful. Pharaoh's princes raved over her to Pharaoh. She was taken to live with Pharaoh. Because of her, Abram got along very well. He accumulated sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, men and women servants, and camels. But God hit Pharaoh hard because of Abram's wife Sarai. Everybody in the palace got seriously sick. Pharaoh called for Abram. "What's this that you've done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she's your wife? Why did you say, 'She's my sister,' so that I'd take her as my wife? Here's your wife back. Take her and get out." Pharaoh ordered his men to get Abram out of the country. They sent him and his wife and everything he owned on their way. So Abram left Egypt and went back to Negev. He and his wife and everything he owned, and Lot was still with him. By now, Abram was very rich, loaded with cattle and silver and gold. Abraham and Lot couldn't both live there. Quarrels broke out between Abram's shepherds and Lot's shepherds. Abram said to Lot, "Let's not fight. Between your shepherds and my shepherds, after all, we're family. Look around. Isn't there plenty of land out there? Let's separate. If you go left, I'll go right. If you go right, I'll go left." His nephew Lot, who was living in Sodom at the time, taking everything he owned with him. When Abram heard that his nephew had been taken prisoner, he lined up his servants, all of them born in his household. There were 318 of them, and chased after the captors all the way to Dan. Abram and his men split into small groups and attacked by night. They recovered all the plunder along with nephew Lot and his possessions, including the women and the people. God said, "Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, and a dove, and a young pigeon." He brought all these animals to him, split them down the middle, and laid the halves opposite each other. But he didn't split the birds. As the sun went down, a deep sleep overcame Abram, and then a sense of dread, dark and heavy. God said to Abram, "Know this, your descendants will live as outsiders in a land not theirs. They'll be enslaved and beaten down for 400 years. Then I'll punish their slave masters, but not you. You'll have a long and full life and die a good and peaceful death." When the sun was down and it was dark, a smoking firepot and a flaming torch moved between the split carcasses. That's when God made a covenant with Abram. "I'm giving this land to your children." Sarai, Abram's wife, hadn't yet produced a child. She had an Egyptian maid named Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, "God has not seen fit to let me have a child. Sleep with my maid. Maybe I can get a family from her." Abram agreed to do what Sarai said. So Sarai, Abram's wife, took her Egyptian maid Hagar and gave her to her husband Abram as a wife. Abram had been living 10 years in Canaan when this took place. He slept with Hagar, and she got pregnant. When Hagar learned she was pregnant, she looked down on her mistress. Sarai told Abram, "It's all your fault that I'm suffering this abuse. I put my maid in bed with you, and the minute she knows she's pregnant, she treats me like I'm nothing. May God decide which of us is right." "You decide," said Abram. Your maid is your business." Sarai was abusive to Hagar, and Hagar ran away. An angel of God found her beside a spring in the desert. He said, "Hagar, maid of Sarai, what are you doing here?" She said, "I'm running away from Sarai, my mistress." The angel of God said, "Go back to your mistress. Put up with her abuse," he continued. "I'm going to give you a big family, children past counting. From this pregnancy, you'll get a son. Name him Ishmael. For God heard you. God answered you. He'll be a bucking bronco of a man, a real fighter, fighting and being fought, always stirring up trouble, always at odds with his family." She answered God by name, praying to the God who spoke to her, "You're the God who sees me." Yes, he saw me, and then I saw him. When Abram was 99 years old, God showed up and said to him, "I am the strong God. Live entirely before me. Live to the hilt. I'll make a covenant between us, and I'll give you a huge family." Overwhelmed, Abram fell flat on his face. Then God said to him,
"This is my covenant with you. You'll be the father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abram, but Abraham, meaning that I'm making you the father of many nations. I'll make you a father of fathers. I'll make nations from you. Kings will issue from you. I'm establishing my covenant between me and you, a covenant that includes your descendants, a covenant that goes on and on and on, a covenant that commits me to be your God and the God of your descendants. And I'm giving you and your descendants this land where you're now just camping, this whole country of Canaan, to own forever, and I'll be their God."
God continued to Abraham,
"And you will honor my covenant, you and your descendants, generation after generation. This is the covenant that you are to honor, the covenant that pulls in all your descendants, permanent covenant."
Stay tuned to God's promise to Abraham and Sarah. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Comment below on what you have learned from Abraham or his wife Sarah. Enjoy, and God bless you.